Today's episode of the Wildcard Podcast is brought to you by Rainbows and Kittens and Butterflies.
Wait, that's my job.
But our butterfly is going to need a friend. Why don't we invite Mr. Honeybee to join him? Look at how happy that made him.
What's
But
happening?
now our kitten wants some friends too. Luckily, we have a basket of puppies who are excited to play.
Where did all these animals come from?
Here they come. Look at them rolling and playing and dancing.
I don't
Did
understand
I say
what's
dancing?
happening.
Oh, remember, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. Now our rainbow is smiling because
Rainbows
she's
can't
being
smile.
visited by our good friend the sun.
What is
Emily,
this?
this is not cool. Not cool at all.
I think Mr. Jared needs a friend too. Who wants to be Mr. Jared's friend?
Oh.
Anyone?
Rainbows and kittens and butterflies. Rainbows and kittens and butterflies. Rainbows and kittens. Rainbows and kittens. Rainbows and kittens and butterflies.
I hate all of you so much. Welcome to the Wildcard Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Eaton, and my co-pilots on this journey to wherever are my good friends Jeff Curtis
Hello.
and the sexiest slumlord in Mr. Robinson's neighborhood, Ron Blair.
You're damn right.
Do you see what I did there, Ron?
Robinson! You sold my daughter a doll with a head of cabbage on it. Well, that's all the time we have today, folks. That was 1983, 84, Eddie Murphy,
yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
And I tied
Excellent
last
work.
week's episode into SNL just for you.
That was phenomenal.
And our second ever guest
What?
on the Wildcard Podcast, we have Emily Kohler, super fan.
Yay!
It's
Hello.
so great to have you here today. I just want to thank you for being here with us and apologize to you for being here with us. I feel like all of those need to be wrapped into one.
It's good to do that up front.
Yeah, just, we thank you for being here. We're sorry that we're here.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
But here at the beginning of the Wildcard Podcast, one of the first things we always want to do is make
Just use
sure...
the bathroom. Make sure everybody's gone to the bathroom. They've eaten, so we don't have to stop.
Go for a
I'm
smoke.
going right
Go
now.
for a smoke,
Going
so we
right
don't have
now.
to stop.
Chew some ice.
Yeah.
Can't
Well,
stop,
we'll
won't
do
stop.
that during the podcast. Don't worry about it.
So Ron, will
Yeah.
you inform the listeners, the plethora of listeners, exactly what
20, man.
That's 20.
That's 20, man.
Exactly what this podcast is all about.
This podcast is about turning over a new leaf, making amends for the things you've done wrong. I'll wait for all of you to make amends and turn over a new leaf for all those things you've done wrong to me. Thank you for listening, fuckers.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's that. There's that.
All
So,
right.
Ron, I'm sorry that.
It's a personal vendetta for Ron,
Yeah,
apparently.
this has always just been a platform for Ron to complain about things.
It really is.
That's what this podcast is all
When
about.
I
It's about
Jared.
Women's Day.
Jared, let's contact Jeff and make a podcast so I can bitch every week about everything.
Well, speaking of things worth bitching about,
Oh, yeah.
today's favorite question, inspired by our special guest, is what is your favorite flat tire story?
Oh, my God.
I don't know that question is phrased correctly.
It is. It is.
Flat
I didn't
tires
say
suck so much.
But the story. They can make a good story.
They can
Even
make
if
a good story.
being in there
That's
sucked,
true.
because I know I've got a great story about one.
Oh, man.
But let's go to Emily
Yeah.
first, because that's the reason we're doing this.
Let's break her in.
You had one yesterday, I believe.
Yep, yesterday would be the favorite because when we went to dinner, Jake and I went to dinner, and we were going to go to Glendale, and it was prom night, and he didn't think about it. So we went to Louisville instead, and we had some great Italian food. We visited his parents, and then on the way back, we're dressed up in a nice dress and heels.
Both
and
of you are in nice
we've got-
dresses and heels.
Yeah, both of
Beautiful.
us. And then our tire blows out on the way back, and we're like, okay. And it's a new car, and I did not think I had a spare tire for some reason. So I was like, Jared, can you come get me for the podcast? And Jake's parents were going to come get me and take us home. And then I was like, well, we should probably look and see if we have a flat tire. Or a spare tire.
Well, you
which
did have
we
a flat tire.
We did have a flat tire.
We looked,
We
and
had
it
both.
definitely was a
We
flat
had both.
tire.
No, it's destroyed. It's
Yeah.
shredded.
And you can't expect Jake to change that in high heels.
Yeah,
No,
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 rest.
no.
His
You
calves,
don't
I bet his
have-
He can
calves
barely
are
walk.
spectacular.
That's right.
So we did have, so I started changing it in my dress, and then I realized, oh, I I still have clothes from Comic-Con, so I was able to change into an 11 cosplay
Yep.
from Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things,
So
awesome.
we started out at a nice Italian restaurant with dinner, and we ended up changing.
Wait, wasn't
flat
11
tire.
in a dress and
No,
in
Only the
Stranger-
prom, the very last scene of
Well,
season
no,
2.
she has a couple of different ones. She has a
Okay.
pink dress, but my
Was it
she
the
wears
overalls?
Yeah,
Yeah.
overalls.
The best part, though, was not only was she in 11, Jake was dressed as a demigorgon.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. Can you imagine driving down the road?
It's like a
and seeing
Demogorgon
that
changing the tire on the
Seven
car.
changing a tire and a Demogorgon handing her like
11.
a tire iron. 11.
11.
11 handing her a tire iron. That is what I wish I could have driven by last
There were
night. Just to see
17
that.
cars that got an accident.
Right.
Down road of Emily.
Rubbernecking the whole thing.
What is that?
But you made it home safely on
Yes.
your donut.
Good.
So that's good. Gentlemen, you guys, any memorable flat tire experiences?
Yeah. When we were in the process of moving to Kentucky from Pennsylvania, we had shipped most of our stuff here in those pods that you rent and stick outside your house
yeah.
and load them. And
Yeah.
so we had almost all of our stuff in that. But on the day we were loading up the second pod, we found out that we had too much stuff still, so we had to rent a U-Haul.
Oh,
A
shit.
U-Haul truck. So Joe and Madeline were driving this U-Haul truck with the rest of our stuff, and I was following behind in our car. And we got late. We had a late start on Thanksgiving Day because that's when we left, and then so we made it into West Virginia, and we thought, okay, well, we'll make it there the next day, all the way to Elizabethtown. But so as we were going in to stop for lunch in West Virginia someplace,
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
as we were going in to stop for lunch, I heard this pop
Oh.
in the car. I was driving the car. Joe was driving the U-Haul. I think Madeline was with me in the car at that point. And so luckily we were already getting off the road because once we got off the road, I looked at the tire and, it had the metal,
Threads?
yeah, the
Threads on
metal
tire?
threads, the wires,
Yeah. Oh,
they
my
were
God.
sticking out, and I cut myself when I went to change the
Yeah,
tire.
I've done that.
So
That hurts.
luckily we have a AAA membership, and we were able to call, and they came and changed the tire, and then we had to go spend the rest of the day going and buying a new tire because we couldn't drive
pain in the
all the way to
ass.
E-Town from West Virginia on a donut. So that was just a lovely day added to our journey from Pennsylvania to Elizabethtown. It ended up taking us 3 days to get here.
Oh, from Pennsylvania?
From Pennsylvania.
Oh my God. Well, the West Virginia is a horrible place for a flat anyway because there's so many dips and valleys and all that.
It's so mountainous when you're,
Yeah.
at least the way we're driving it. Well, most of West Virginia is pretty mountainous, but it's so mountainous anyway, and you're going
You
up.
say
to-
at least the way we're driving, and it makes me think that you're just getting off the interstate and like driving up and down. I know that's not what we do, but that's what I imagine.
The interstate
way we were
itself is
driving
so
up those mountains.
Well, the thing, West Virginia is 20 miles if you were to drive it straight, but it takes 9 hours because you have to go left to
Switch
right
back,
to left to right
yeah.
to left to right. It's awful. But if you're on the Kentucky end, for about 50 miles, there's some really cute towns that are like in a valley near the river
Well,
and all that.
there are beautiful towns in West Virginia.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
I
adorable.
love West Virginia. I love driving through West Virginia. It's just that the mountains are so steep. You can see why it was a barrier to moving
the
west,
west, yeah.
to the
Yeah.
west for the colonists.
Appalachia.
Oh, yeah.
Because Appalachia, even though the Rockies are higher,
Right.
getting through those mountains, those Appalachian mountains.
No,
that was-
Hannibal would look at it and be like, I don't have
Pass.
enough goddamn elephants to get up over those mountains. This is bullshit.
this
The Blue Ridge Mountains.
There's
is
at least
bullshit.
no, I'm not gonna say at least 3/4 of our audience is like, why would Hannibal Lecter be crossing?
Right, I know. That's what I figured the response
Yeah.
would be. It's cute though. It looks like they all look like towns from Popeye the movie or something. They're adorable little
They're
multicolored
beautiful.
painted little towns. They're a little on the lower end of the income scale.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's West Virginia, but it's adorable.
Yeah.
And then once you're past those, you have another 100,000 miles
Yep.
of Jack Dick
Yep.
to drive through.
Yeah,
in
once
West
we got
Virginia.
into Kentucky, it's like, okay, well, there's
Wait,
not.
this is
Oh, the flat
And then the
highway
flight
that
is
you
like,
go through. You're
and
like,
nothing to
Kansas.
stop
Oh.
at.
Kansas.
oh, look, yeah.
Yeah,
it
Kansas
can't
is like
compete
Because
with
when I've driven
Kansas
through
from what I've
Kansas,
heard.
I am utterly convinced at points that I've gone back in time. I've gone to the era before civilization
Yeah.
because it's like there was one time I was driving through Kohler. I think I actually told this story in the podcast once. Where we were finding radio stations because this was 2005 and you didn't have
Yeah.
so many satellite or anything like that. So you'd push the seek and it would just go all the way through. and there was one radio station, and we swear it was some guy named Gary in his dad's basement.
Probably,
He's playing piano or something.
Gary,
Thanks for
listen to this,
listening,
everybody.
Yeah.
Gary!
You hear a human screaming in the background.
Right,
You're like,
right.
no, it's probably nothing.
It's probably fine.
Once you get to eastern Colorado, if you're headed east into Kansas, it's flat and the roads are straight. So you can be driving on the same road and never take a left or right turn for 100 miles.
How
and see like 2 gas stations.
Yeah.
And like,
How tempted would you be, though, to put your own homemade "Beware Children of the Corn" sign in like Kansas or Nebraska?
Well, it never occurred to me, but I could see you doing that.
Oh, I would definitely. If I lived if I
could
were
see you
ever
taking out a
near
billboard.
there, yeah, I would be like, "Beware Children of the Corn," and then take one of those slow children at play signs, but put a hatchet in their hand or something, so they're like chasing
blood dripping off the sign.
a little severed head
there
where
was
the ball
one,
is.
when we were driving through the Rocky Mountain National Park. There was one point we was pitch black because we stayed up and we watched the stars. We stayed up late because we wanted to be on top of the mountains looking at the stars.
Well, hell yeah,
gorgeous. And we were driving back to our cabin, and there was just the only thing I can describe it as is an impromptu red light. It was not an intersection.
What?
It's just
There was just a
road.
red light in the middle of this, and it's red, and we're parked there, and we're like, I've seen horror movies.
Right.
This is how they
It's
get
not
you.
normal.
They stop you where they want you to stop, and then they kill you. And then it turned green and we kept going, but there was no
There was no
reason.
intersection. There's no reason. Nothing
Like, unless it
crossing
was
the
like
road.
There is a
construction during the day,
township.
and they just don't take it down at night.
There is a township about 15 miles away who's like, well, we had an excess in the budget. What do you want to do? Let's do a stoplight.
They probably
I've
said-
always wanted to
They
have a
probably
stoplight.
said, okay, let's put a stoplight, and for those who don't stop, we can give them a ticket.
There you go.
Right.
Give them money.
Income.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Or this is what we do. We put a stoplight out there, and then just before it, we put a "Beware Children of the Corn" sign, and they won't want to stop. They'll just drive on past, and then we'll give them a ticket.
All right, Ron, any flat tire stories? Because I've been saving mine.
My
proud
favorite
of
flat tire story was when we were doing hairspray and Jake Richardson had
my
a spare
favorite.
tire. I'm not going to talk about my spare tires because they just piss me off to this day. I've never had a fun story come out of a flat tire. It's always just a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But when Jake was late the night of hairspray, he lived in
Washington.
Mount Washington at the time, Mount Shepherdsville.
Shut up.
That's what I was saying. They're right
Shepherdsville.
next to each other, Mount
Remember,
Shepherdsville.
there are no mistakes, only happy accidents.
Only happy
Only happy
accidents.
accidents.
Unless I make a fucking mistake. But yeah, I guess we got word like 20 till curtain,
Yeah.
or it might have been 40 minutes until curtain, something like that. But it was enough where you went, oh, fuck, this is not good.
Now, we love Jake. And
Oh,
it
no,
would've been
Jake is
horrible
one of
to
our
have- it would've
favorite
been
people in
horrible
the
to not
world.
have Jake there, but also
Yes.
our seaweed was with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a pretty integral character.
Yeah, you
for
really,
Hairspray.
and while I wouldn't want to go on without Jake as one of the committee members,
We could have
you
pushed
can't
through it.
go on
Right.
without seaweed. It's not, it drives the show
Yeah.
there for a little bit. So yeah, I've never had to wait in a,
Hold the
backstage
opening,
area
yeah.
like that and waiting, and just sweating from the heat. It was
Yeah.
summertime, very hot. And,
In a dress.
and listen, and Bo, in a dress, dressed as Edna, and then Bo is having to entertain the audience for like 10 minutes
And then
or so.
we went on before.
Yeah, they hadn't shown up,
Because
and
we
were
went on
like,
and started
we gotta
dancing
go.
on stage,
when
and
they
then
hit the E-Town
It was
exit.
that's
Yeah.
what it was. He texted, said we're at the E-Town exit, and
the
Bo's like,
nicest
let's
kids
make it a go.
The nicest kids in town are out there dancing, and then all of a sudden, Jake's on stage dancing with
That
us.
slick son of a bitch
That
just
was the
stepped
most
right in, and it
amazing.
was perfect.
Slid right
He
in.
timed it to the music, not on purpose.
No, it was perfect.
He ran on. Yeah, like the lights shifted
We were doing
at
the
a certain
circle.
point.
We were doing
yeah.
the circle.
We did it, and then we came out of the
Yeah.
circle and did a spin as the lights shifted,
Yeah.
and then that's when he came
was
in.
there.
He was
Yeah.
just there. I was like,
Yeah, Hairspray was magical for many
So
reasons.
anyone,
That's
if
just
everyone
one
had
of the
questioned
stories.
how smooth and quick Jake can be.
Oh, Jake's quick.
He's
he can
flighty,
think on
yeah.
his feet real quick
Yeah.
like that, and he's very clever.
oh my gosh, yes.
So for me, this one was during Elephant Man,
Yeah,
and I was still living in Meade County.
right.
And so I would take the long, and actually I was driving past your house because I would cut through. Is it 1600?
Yeah.
And I didn't know where you lived.
You
there.
drove over my speed trap that I
That was
usually
most of the day.
assail people
So
with.
I had gone
and
through.
then-
I'd
sorry,
gone through
Jared,
the
I went home that
roundabout.
day.
I'd gone through the roundabout.
Yeah.
And not much further than that. Like I'd gotten past the little. I'm gonna say town and it quotes.
Right.
Whatever is
If
that
you-
Rhineyville
if
or
you-
whatever.
Yeah.
And
A
then
village.
there's this little.
It's
There's a
technically
little.
a village.
Is it?
There's a little
Technically.
greenery area or something.
Oh, like a greenhouse.
There's something like that on the road
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and I got a flat tire there.
Oh, that's bottom of the hill too.
Yeah, so I'm pretty ticked off, but whatever. Move
Right.
on, go back. And And then actually, I don't think it was Elephant Man now because I know it was during Bye Bye Birdie.
Yeah, I don't remember this.
It was
story.
during Bye Bye Birdie.
Okay.
Oh.
So I don't. Yeah, I was driving
That was
myself.
a fun show, but things happened.
I was driving
It
myself
was
home,
rough.
and whatever. And then I got my flat tire. I got out. I took care of it. Put my donut on. Drove, and eventually got the new tire. And then a week later, I'm driving back down to a Bye Bye Birdie rehearsal with the 2 students I brought from Meade County.
yeah, Tori and
Alexandra. They rode with me, and we're driving same stretch of road. And this time I break down flat tire, and it was near a farm.
What?
So I pulled into this farm road, like the
Yeah.
long road that goes to the farm, and it's all like gravel and rock.
Right.
And I'm kneeling out there, and it's hot.
Yeah.
This is like late
Oh
summer.
yeah, it's August.
Hot, and I sweat anyway.
Right.
No problem. I just
Yeah.
sweat for any reason at all. And so I'm kneeling there, looking at my flat tire. It was destroyed, exploded. It was pretty great.
Oh, God.
And I'm kneeling on these rocks, trying to like jack up the car,
Oh,
and it
shit.
starts to rain with the sun out.
Oh,
So
one
it
of
was
those.
like
yeah.
it wasn't like it was like hot rain. It wasn't
Right.
refreshing at
Oh,
all.
God.
And then you
Like
guys
jungle
have,
rain.
now you guys have seen The Wicker Man
Yeah.
with
Yeah, not with Nicolas
you
Cage.
haven't
I've
seen
seen
Nicolas
the
Cage.
original.
No, I haven't seen the original.
I saw
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a moment where he gets
Sorry,
this
guys.
mask put on,
Yeah.
and there's a meme that came from it about a certain type of insect that was going after him,
Ah.
the bees.
Yeah, the bees.
So
Oh.
when I am putting a new tire on my car, and a comedic number of bees, like a sitcom level number of bees, were engulfing me, and
No.
I didn't get a single sting.
Wow.
Not a single sting.
They were licking the sweat off.
Yeah,
is
but
what
there
it was.
would be 3 or 4 per arm. They were on my hair.
Not cool.
It was like I said, I was laughing out loud. I told the girls to stay away from me. They were getting their cameras out and videoing it because it was so absurd how many bees were around
Oh
me.
my God.
In the heat, with the rain, and I had so many cuts on my knees from the rocks. And then, because it's the only time I've ever been late to an HCP rehearsal.
Right.
And I was only like 5-10 minutes late because I always try to leave with enough time for that drive.
Right.
And I was just so ticked off. But it was balanced by how absurdly comedical
Right.
the number of bees were.
And then you had to go sing "Put on a Happy Face."
Yeah.
After that.
Which you know,
Which you
which
did.
makes you put on a happy face.
Right.
because
Right.
That song was so
That was a great number.
such an Emily Kohler song.
The Michael Crichton wrote in his book Travels that he was in South America and he was sitting there taking a break, and he was swarmed the same way, but doubly by South American bees. Everything in South America is pissed off.
Yeah.
Every animal in South America is angry at you for some reason.
Not Australian levels of wanting
Not
to kill
Australian
you.
level. No. They're not like that.
Yeah.
Australian animals
They're
are
not hunter
assholes. They'll
killers.
swoop you and suck your blood and then laugh at you and go for a drink. That's what Australian animals do. But in South America, they're just kind of pissy. And so he's sitting there taking a break, and a couple of bees land on him, and then a couple more, and then he gets covered with bees. And the guide is like, "Well, just don't move. They're just licking the sweat. They're just licking the salt off of your arms or whatnot. So just stay calm."
chill.
Just stay calm,
No.
and they'll go away.
And thus
they did.
And thus the TV show Fear Factor was going.
That's exactly right.
How
Well,
long did he have to stay calm?
Oh, I'm sure for 10 minutes or so. There was another one where he was in Africa in a safari, and they told him, if a gorilla charges you, just stand there, don't run. If you run, he's going to break you in half. He's going to grab you, break
He's
you in
gonna
half.
go Congo on you.
And sure as shit, and one of them charged him, and he had the balls to just stand there.
I don't know that I would.
And
I love gorillas.
It'd be hard.
Well, they can outrun you.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike
Oh,
a
yeah.
werewolf. A gorilla can outrun you
we've
and
clearly
break you
shown-
in.
Right,
werewolf
exactly.
background.
Unlike a werewolf.
All right. Speaking of werewolves,
Yeah.
this podcast, and so we have
Special day.
special treat for all you listeners. In that this episode, I think 42.
42.
42.
This is 42.
This is the first time that one of the three of us has not presented the topic.
Yeah.
Emily Kohler was not just brought on because she's the greatest fan of all time.
Right.
she
Or My
is.
Little Bird.
Yeah. No offense to other fans who are also the greatest fans of all time.
Right.
But she is here to present a topic.
Yeah.
So Emily,
We're very
what do you
excited
have
about
for
this.
us today?
We are going to talk about Harry Potter.
Oh,
All right, we are.
All right.
And
We
now,
have reams
now,
upon
just to give a little bit
reams.
of background about why we're talking about Harry Potter today.
Yeah.
It's because we did an episode a month or so ago
Yeah.
in which my favorites question was like, the three of us design a Hogwarts house.
Yes.
Right.
We're like, so let's, well, my house would be this. I think Ron's was Bear Claw.
That's what you gave it.
And so we kind of did that. And then Emily commented on that YouTube video with, I think it was a chapter story. It was, a novelization of, and so we were kind of like, man, this girl.
Yeah,
She
she knows
should
some
have an
She's got
episode.
something to say.
Oh yeah.
So we wanted to turn to you, Emily.
All right, first, I have a question.
Oh, she knows
The old
podcast.
Jared style of doing a program.
I need to know how much each of you knows about Harry Potter.
How are we quantifying this?
Okay, first,
If I say 17, is that an answer?
I think that's fine.
have you read the books?
I own all the books. I've read them
all the
multiple
books.
times.
All right.
I
read all
have
the
not
books.
read any of the books, but Madeline has read them 3 or 4 times, if that counts. But I have
No,
seen all the
no, it
movies
doesn't.
a couple times.
I've seen all the movies, read all the books. I don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago. I sure as shit don't remember reading those books several years ago. I just know that I did.
I used
when
to
saw the
read
movies.
them like once a year.
Yeah.
Go through the whole series because the series started when I was in elementary school.
Well, I was thinking you were the age group
I was
that they were
I was the
marketing
targeted
it
age.
to.
My 9th grade year was when the first movie came out.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my friends had already started reading the series, but I just when I was young was never drawn to fantasy.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings didn't really do much for me when I was really young.
No, I'm the same way.
It was sciencey stuff. Sci-fi
Yeah.
was kind of always what drew me in more. Star Wars and those kinds of things. So I resisted for so long. I would go see the movies because, especially my freshman year, we got to go on a field trip to River Falls Mall Cinema to see the Sorcerer's Stone. If you had read the book, and I hadn't, so my buddy John gave me a little bit of information so I could sound like I'd seen them. And so then he and I and some of my friends would see the movies every year. And then when I went to college, I stopped.
Yeah.
And then when I moved back in 2011 was when the final movie was released. And so my buddy John, who I actually lived with after college for about a year, he's like, you should just read the books.
Yeah, they're great
Yeah,
books.
so
So good.
it was over
Yeah.
the summer. It was July 2011. And I'm like, all right, I don't have a job down here yet. I'm
Right.
just kind of... So I started the first one, and within 7 days, I'd read every book.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
seven.
Wow.
they're such good books.
Yeah.
They hook you quickly. I know when
The characters are written in a way that I've never really experienced from any other story.
well, Harry Potter and the original Jurassic Park are probably the only 2 movies that I've seen, and I was sitting in the theater, and it was in the middle of it that I came to the realization that I just accepted what was happening.
Yeah.
And what was happening was not real. But I never once went, those are great special effects. I was just there.
Captivated.
I was there in the world, and it totally absorbed me. Sorcerer's Stone is so good that way. You
one
go,
of the
this
better
doesn't
adaptations.
happen. This can't happen. And yet here we are watching it, and you're just buying it.
And it's amazing with the books, especially as you go further and further in a series, how the books mature
Oh,
in a
yes.
very
Yeah.
natural way
They
with the
definitely
age
do.
of the characters. And the books get longer and longer until the books, you're carrying it over your shoulder.
Right.
It's too heavy, but you're like, it doesn't matter. I love this story, these people. And
Right.
I
You're
can't-
making your
you're
children
so
hold the
invested
books in
in it.
each hand as punishment to stand there for 20
Yeah.
minutes. Those are heavy books.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start with differences from the movies to the books,
Okay.
Okay.
which
Cool.
some of them are major and some of them are minor. As in, go back to the page.
They
But-
cut out the Kraken from
Excuse me.
all
Oh,
the films.
the squid that lives in the lake.
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
The
No, I
giant-
was talking
no,
about the Kraken
they
that
cut the
sinks
giant
the Jack Sparrow's boat.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah,
go. There
they
you go.
cut
That
him.
happens.
They cut him
right?
and the giant squid.
I don't know.
Yeah, they kill him and the giant squid, and they ate it.
Wait a second.
They served it at Long John's.
Welcome to the Wild Card
Silver.
Podcast. everybody.
Long John's Lobster.
Deep
bread.
fried
Red
Kraken.
Lobster.
Did you go to school with him too in college?
College.
Captain D was he was my bunkmate
professor.
at Naval Academy.
Naval Academy.
Captain D was
Naval
Captain
Academy.
Don. I called him Don. I didn't have to call him Captain.
Don.
Yeah, just Don.
So this was I don't know. I was gonna make a joke. I don't know military rankings well enough to know if captain's before or after lieutenant.
It's after
it's
lieutenant.
higher than
Okay.
lieutenant.
It's not higher than admiral.
So this was
though.
after he was Lieutenant Dan. He became Captain Dan.
He was. That's what Don.
Oh,
Captain
okay.
Don. He was Lieutenant Don, then Captain Don, then Admiral
Admirable.
Admiral Don.
Rear
I admired
admirable.
him.
You had admirable his rear.
That's true.
You're gonna have to break
Oh,
your way
poor
back into
Emily.
your discussion, Emily.
So Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter.
What they did with the movies, which they started very close to the books, and then
Yeah.
as they progressed, they got farther and farther away.
Well, they had to compress so much.
Well, that's the
They
thing.
left things
Each
out.
book got bigger.
They go, and the fifth book is actually the biggest book, so they could have. The last 2 are not as big, but the things they left out in the beginning of like the first one were like Dudley was blonde, they made him brunette, and they cut out Mrs. Fig, which was a character.
Arabella Fig.
Yes, They
She's
skipped
a
that.
neighbor who is a squib that we found.
Or
We
squib.
don't know she's a squib.
Oh,
until
Not
later.
till
yeah,
later.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
they cut her.
There'll be a lot of revelations.
She would
Oh, yeah.
she would
Now I
babysit
remember.
Harry when he was young, and he hated when she
What's a
smelled like
squib?
cabbage or something.
It's a person born of magical parents who has no magical powers.
the
It's
opposite of a muggle.
It's kind of it shouldn't be a shameful thing, but among some wizards, it is a mark of.
Which is a thing.
Yeah, no, it's the
think
Harry
it's like-
Potter
I
books are
think
great
it's like
because they face equality issues.
Yeah.
and
Well, I
stuff
think it's like
that. They
it's
address
like,
it.
and this is I don't mean to sound offensive, but I think it's like inbreeding because so many of the wizarding
Yeah.
families
Oh,
are about the purity of wizard
Right.
blood,
most
Purity of
definitely.
that they're
blood.
intermarrying with other, and so you get these squibs that are showing up,
Right.
Because they're not
Almost, yeah.
marrying outside the family.
Like Hagrid. Hagrid was a squib.
No,
No,
Hagrid's
he's a
not.
half giant.
Hagrid's
He was a half
giant.
giant. Okay.
He had magical abilities, but he was banned from using them because he got kicked out.
Oh,
In his
that's
third
right.
year.
Well, who was the other famous squib?
The,
groundskeeper.
Filch.
Yes,
Filch is a
August,
squib.
August
Yeah.
Filch.
Yeah.
Oh, Filch was a squib?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why he was so mean to all the students because he was
he
bitter.
couldn't do it.
He was
They were doing
bitter
magic
by the fact
always,
that they were
that's
learning
right.
and they could do magic and he couldn't.
So now we have motive behind his being
Oh,
just
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is touched
That's what the
upon-
books give you.
They
You go,
cut that from the
"Oh."
movies.
Yeah, there's
No.
one point in the books where Harry's being disciplined for I don't recall what, but he's in Filch's office and he sees a quick spell manual, which is
Yeah.
like a how to learn magic if you're a squib, like a
Right.
infomercial kind of thing. And
He's like, oh, that's why you're mean and
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
But-
But back to Emily's well put together report here
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know about
that
that.
we've just destroyed.
No.
no, we're going off on her
She's
tangents
heard
now.
every one of our episodes.
We're
I think
off
she
on-
knew
That's
what she was
true.
in.
That was
I
a
planned for
tangent
this.
on her topic. At
I
least.
planned for this. So, like, some of the things that they were, like, arbitrary, like Dudley being blonde, but some of them they left out, like, Hagrid wasn't tall enough. And that comes back in the fourth book. We'll get to that. They left out, in the very beginning, they have, it's sort of a lot of stuff they left out in the earlier books is world building. Like,
Yeah.
the book starts off with shooting stars happening all over London and owls
Oh, yeah.
sleeping
Celebration
patterns. It's
of
the
the-
wizards celebrating. The owls' sleeping patterns are changed. Everyone's owling each other,
Right.
trying to say, hey, he's dead. And they just cut it. It's just gone.
It just starts
Yeah.
with his
But-
privet drive, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I may be jumping ahead, but how many of these cuts do you think were cut because they weren't actually necessary to get that feeling for the movie, or to because I haven't read the books, and so I thought the movies. I felt all the movies were very coherent and easy to follow and understandable, and I thought the characters built on each other, and I felt that the characters that were there were important to the story. It didn't feel like something was missing that
No.
was necessary
And
for
I
telling
would tend to agree with you, Jeff.
story.
But those of us who have read the books,
Yeah.
we find them so compelling
Like
that it's
half.
almost I don't use this word. It's almost offensive to us because like but I love that part.
Right.
But
There's so much more.
Is it necessary?
No,
The story can get
absolutely
told
not.
as well, but this world was built so well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
that
The movies
to
are
lose
missing about
anything-
half of what
Oh, yeah.
you get out of the book.
At least.
At least half. There's
If
a
not more.
lot missing from the
I
film.
know we're in
Although
the first
films
one.
are awesome.
We haven't gotten to the fourth one. The third book is my favorite.
Yeah,
That's
mine
my
too.
favorite
Prisoner
too.
of Azkaban.
But in the
It's
fourth
so
one,
good.
you get. I think it's the fourth one.
Goblet of Fire.
No, it's sorry, fifth one. In the fifth one,
Order
you
of
get almost said Neville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get so much more of his backstory. And he was
Yeah.
my
And you love. Yeah, I
from
know
the
you
first
love Neville.
movie.
He's so
he was
Neville's
good.
my favorite character too.
Yeah.
Do you know why Neville? Do you know anything about Neville's backstory?
Well, I know
Something
his
from the-
parents were
Yeah.
killed by
Well, they weren't
The-
killed.
Or
was
they
it
were
the
dumped in.
Cruciato
In the movie,
or the other
Cruciato.
one?
Yeah, Cruciato. They
Cruciato.
drove them
Cruciato,
insane.
that's
They
right.
weren't
Pain
killed.
basically
Oh,
destroyed
dude.
The
their
movie, they
lives.
kind of gloss over and act like they're killed, but they're still in St. Mungo's. He visits them, and they don't know who he is,
Yeah.
and they're like they have no mental capacity to remember anything except for one little thing. Neville comes up to visit his mom, and she gives him bubblegum wrappers, and he
Hands
always
him
keeps
something,
them.
yeah.
And his grandmother's always like, "Throw them away. That's garbage." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna keep it." Because
Yeah, you get so much more of his backstory and why he's
so sad.
sympathetic and why.
Well, during
tragic character.
Lupin's defense against the dark arts in the film,
love it.
isn't there a scene where it kind of indicates that Neville had some kind of twisted?
No,
his
that's
fear was,
that's
his
for-
fear was Snape. When the
Oh,
blogger
that's
showed
right,
his fear was
that's right.
Snape.
which is a big point.
In
Well,
the fourth
yeah.
one, when
Mad-Eye Moody.
Barney,
well, not Mad-Eye Moody,
Barty
but-
Crouch Jr. spoiler
Right.
alert, as Mad-Eye Moody is talking about these horrible curses.
That's what it was.
Neville raises his hand the first time he'd ever answered a question.
Yeah.
And says
knows-
Cruciato.
Well, it's like
He
it
knows
looks
that
like
curse.
he's torturing that spider too,
He
right?
is.
And
Well, he
Neville
is.
freaks
He's
out.
using the
Yeah.
spell
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Which, why would you do that? He's 14.
But
Yeah, but he's Mad-Eye Moody.
He wasn't Mad-Eye Moody.
Well,
He's
spoiler
a-
alert.
He's a
Already
Death
said
Eater.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll say this about Neville's character in the movies: you don't realize how important he is until you get to like the last
Yeah.
movies.
Yes.
Right.
But in part, that's what I like about him so much is that you don't realize he's this seems like this secondary wizard
Yeah.
student,
Right.
and then he becomes so integral to defeating Voldemort at the end.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
And
Books
it's
capture
which
that
is
too.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
why I so relate to him, because he's one of those people he's one of those characters that you think, okay, well, that's a nice character to be around, but you aren't paying attention to him, and
Right.
you realize that he is as important as Harry or any of the rest of the people
And
in the
it's really
story.
not to the fifth book even
Yeah.
that you get that in the books. He's still just like
He's just
he's
Neville.
not even their friend. Really,
He's a klutzy.
Which is
he's
sad.
he's a nice kid.
Yeah.
He has
you
friends,
don't
though.
know why
Right.
he's in Gryffindor
But he,
Yeah.
he definitely belongs to Gryffindor.
until the fifth book. It's like, oh,
You
okay.
get a little taste of it in the first movie.
He stands up to them.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
stands
That's
up
all.
to
But when
them.
he
Yeah,
when he
when he-
starts excelling in botany,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Herbology, because
Because
you go, oh, Neville
See,
has
that's why I
a
related to
thing.
him. I related to him
it-
because I'm like, that would have been me with Care of Magical Creatures.
Yeah.
If I had been,
Yeah.
I would have been Neville, but that would have been the one class I was good at.
Yeah, if you haven't read the books, Luna Lovegood is a character.
I love
Yeah.
Luna
Like
Lovegood.
she's in it a
Amazing.
lot.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
more than the films. In the
Yeah.
films, I feel like they just kind of were like, look at this kooky character. Here's a tiny plot for
She's
her.
there to be a quirk.
But
She's
in the books,
important.
she is quite important.
Especially in that
the
fifth one
books.
again.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
And did you know Neville is actually part of the prophecy that centers around Harry?
I don't remember that. No.
Yeah.
The prophecy names the child born as the 7th month dies, which is July,
Yeah.
and it could have either been Neville or Harry. And Voldemort made a point to choose Harry.
Oh,
who is
that's
And
right.
half-blood.
marked him as
marked
equal.
him as
That's
equal.
right.
It says the prophecy says he will mark him as an equal. Neville's a pureblood. Both of his parents are pure blood magicians, but Harry's mom is a Muggle and Harry's dad is a wizard. So he chose the half-blood, like Voldemort. Voldemort is also a half-blood. He's all for blood purity and says, "Oh, half-bloods are garbage. Mudbloods are garbage," but he's a half-blood.
Ah, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
His mom was a Muggle who bewitched his dad with a love potion enough to get pregnant and said, "Oh, he'll love me," and then stopped using the love potion, and then he left.
Which kind of parallels Snape's stories of
I
unrequited.
love. See,
unrequited
the
love,
sixth is not one of my
making
favorite
him
books.
the dick that
I
he
don't really
became.
like Harry Potter in the sixth book.
Eh.
I don't
why
really
is
like. I don't
that?
really like Harry Potter in several of the books. I don't like him as a person.
Yeah.
But
one of
probably
the
just because he's so young, and it's
Yeah.
just like you're such a brat. But
And
I'm
he's
sure
the
I was
most
too.
oblivious character
Right.
in the book.
But in the sixth one, as much as I dislike him, I love all the backstory, all the
Yeah. Oh
my gosh,
Horcruxes
yes.
they're looking into, all the history of
Yeah,
They
that's
cut so much
awesome.
of
That's
it.
really cool.
They cut so much of the backstory from the movie.
yeah.
They had to.
Well, and see, that's why
There was
for
so
me,
much
like,
backstory.
I knew there were going to be things in this where I'm like, I don't really remember the movies because I know the books so much better. I
Yeah.
don't own the movies. I don't have TV. I don't watch them.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
I love in the seventh book where you find out that Albus Dumbledore was not the saintly character he
Oh
was.
my gosh, he
all
was
through
not.
it, you go, oh, what did he do?
I've never
Oh,
read
that's
anything
horrible.
that pulled the wool out from under you.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Pulls the carpet out from under
Yeah,
you.
you go, oh shit.
And then you go back and look at
Dumbledore
it.
was kind of a dick at times.
Yeah.
And then you go back and look at it. He left Harry at the
Dursleys.
Dursleys,
Oh, yeah.
and there's no way he didn't know they weren't feeding him.
Right.
They locked him in a cupboard. The owls know where to deliver his letters. They were
Right.
addressed to Mr. Harry Potter, who lives under the cupboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew.
There's no.
We
You
also-
don't leave a child in an abusive home like
but
that.
he knew also that if he didn't drop him off there, Harry Potter would have become Lucius Malfoy, or not Lucius,
Oh, yeah.
but Draco Malfoy. If he'd been
Could have
like
been.
told his whole life how
Yeah.
special he was and how amazing he was, that's what I see when I see like
That was
Draco.
his reasoning, but it wasn't the only option.
No, there
It
may have
was-
been other ones,
For
too.
the blood magic to work, yes, it was, but it was kind of like he has to make hard decisions, and some of them there are no right choices, and some of them there are, but some of them there are not. I'm
He's
not a
become
fan-
Dumbledore has become a meme. Like there's so many
What?
little internet comics of Dumbledore just doing insane things
Right.
to
Yes.
mess with everyone, and they're pretty
Yeah.
hysterical.
I mean, he hired
I
Gil for
like
Lockhart, so-
Dumbledore as a character. He's one of my favorite characters in the Harry Potter series.
Yeah.
Because he's so human.
He is, yes.
He makes mistakes, but all of his mistakes, he thinks he's doing what is necessary.
Right.
Yes.
And so I really, really like him, even though there are maybe decisions I would have made differently. There's also ones that he made that I wouldn't have.
It's the
Yeah.
greater good. That's what
Yeah.
he's looking at. What's for
Oh,
the greater good.
greater
And
good.
sometimes it's always not
Greater good makes me
great
angry.
for everybody. The
that
greater
over.
good.
Yeah, that comes later.
All right, what else you got?
I did mostly have a list of all the things that were different in the books, but we're kind of jumping around.
Well, you have Peeves written down.
Peeves?
in
They
a big
cut
old
Peeves
letter,
out,
which I
I'm
think
so
is
mad about
awesome. Yeah.
Peeves is a poltergeist that was never made it into the movies, and he was so funny, and he played a deliberate part in Umbridge when she was
Yeah.
there. He was
Yeah.
like
Messing with her
unscrewing
all the time.
a chandelier, and there's a part where McGonagall comes up and she's like, it unscrews the other way. And she like, he is anarchy incarnate.
McGonagall's
He is the
amazing.
poltergeist
Yeah,
of
he's great.
Hogwarts, and he messes with the
Well,
twins.
there's a lot with the ghosts that didn't
Yeah.
make it into the
Yeah,
lot
well,
of it-
Nearly Headless Nick has 5 seconds of farting in the first movie, and then
you
he's
cast-
gone forever. John
you
Cleese!
cast John Cleese,
You
don't you
gave
say,
John
Laura?
Cleese 5 minutes of screen time and never show him again during the rest of the series. I think maybe once in the other movies he shows up.
He shows up a lot in the books. Like,
Oh, yeah,
I was
he's
so
a character.
disappointed.
He's a big part in the second book.
I get to
Yeah, oh,
Because
he's
he has
huge in the
he has
second
his
book.
death
Yeah.
I was
party.
so
He has his
disappointed
death
that wasn't
party.
there. I was just excited for that scene. I was ready, and I was like, "Where
But
is
it wasn't necessary.
Where is it?
It wasn't necessary to
They're
tell
all
the story
necessary.
of
I
I want to say
watched-
Nagiri. What is
Well, then it needs to be a
Voldemort's
television
name?
series.
I would watch a
Nagini.
10-hour movie of every Harry Potter.
Nagiri
book.
is a-
He would be
Is that-
Nagiri if he were served raw.
I was gonna say, I guess it
Yeah.
is.
That's food.
Over a bed of rice.
Yeah.
I would eat Nagini Nagiri
Yeah, I
quickly.
believe you.
It would be delicious. I have no doubt.
They changed the actor who played Tom, who runs the Leaky Cauldron.
Oh, okay.
From movie, because
I
he's
did
this
not know that.
kindly old,
Yeah.
like, nice-looking
Barkeep.
fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the barkeep. He's
Helps
got,
me.
like, nice wavy hair, like you had in 39 Steps.
Aw.
But he's,
Right,
like, this
but don't
kindly
have
old
now.
fellow.
Basically my normal hair.
And
Now it's just your dumb face.
in the
Fair.
third movie,
Sorry.
I don't know why they recast him. He's this
And
guy with a
mustache, yes.
hunt. Like, he's got
That's
a hump.
what it is.
Yeah.
And he's like Igor. He's bald and he's acting weird. That's not what he was in the first 2 movies. And I'm like,
Well,
I don't know why
Maybe
I
they
think
couldn't
it's-
get the same actor.
Essentially,
Maybe,
I-
it's different.
Do you
Well,
have a favorite Dumbledore of the actors? Because, the first one died.
man, Richard Harris was so good.
I
like
Michael
Richard.
Gambon. Michael Gambon. He picked up.
That's
he
who I
picked
was
it
good
up.
too.
That's who I think of when I think of.
Yeah,
I
that's
like Richard Harris, but I don't think he could have physically done the stuff Dumbledore was supposed to. Not that he did it. Not that they had Dumbledore.
No, but
do it
during
in the movie.
Sorcerer's Stone, you went. I think Richard Harris is going to die at any second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe on film.
Oh, yeah, on film.
Yeah, because he's like
Yeah.
breathing heavy.
what you
He's-
want?
that's
Yeah,
it.
I like Michael Gambon was good too.
I
He's a
turned
good
out the
Dumbledore.
lights with my wand. Do you love it? I love it.
And they stuck a projector in the movie. Magic cancels out all electronics. There's a projector in the movie.
Well, there's a running gag that the wizards have no idea how any of our
Oh, like
humans
how a
think.
phone
yeah.
works, which I think was great. They don't know how
Yeah.
a phone
how
works.
money works and
Right.
Arthur Weasley always wants to, how does an airplane stay up? That's his greatest
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
life
he-
goal. He wants to find out how
He wants
it
to
stays
know
up.
about this stuff, and
They-
and fortunately, because the car makes is a big plot
Ford Anglia.
device
Yes.
in the beginning of the
Second book.
Yes,
Yeah.
the second book. They levitate things in their first year, and he's like, how do they get airplanes to stay up? I need to know. It's like first year magic, but they
Wants
don't
to
have
know,
magic.
man.
But they don't have
We
magic.
befuddle him just as they befuddle us.
Yeah.
They cut out so
didn't
many
know.
things. Cut out so many things. But this is my least favorite thing they ever changed, and all I wrote was calmly, and it's in the 4th book, and it's when Dumbledore
Yeah,
is
it's
asking
all
Harry-
caps. She wrote
It's all caps.
And
It's got its
bolded.
own 2
I've been
lines.
looking at it for a while.
calmly.
I've been looking at it for a while, trying to. I don't recognize what you're
Okay.
going for with it.
With the Goblet of Fire, when Harry gets his name chosen, it's supposed to be 3 wizards. Somebody,
Yeah. Triwizard
somebody,
Tournament.
yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a 4th one. It's Harry because of a plot by Voldemort. and
Someone
his
put
father.
his name in it,
Somebody
yeah.
did. So it comes out, and in the book it says Harry. Dumbledore said, "Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" Dumbledore said calmly. He screams it in the movie.
Right.
Yeah,
he yells-
accusing him.
he's, like
Right.
practically throwing things. He's not throwing things.
Surely, Dumbledore would understand that Harry Potter doesn't have the magic
No.
capability to trick this
Ah,
goblet.
it's
Right.
one of the things that makes everyone the angriest. It's so bad, and he deliberately didn't read the book so he could make his own acting
Harry,
choices.
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? 50 points to Gryffindor.
Oh my goodness! Yes. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It makes me so angry. That's the worst thing they did in the movie. Maybe it's not, but it's so bad. They just that's not how it was, because Dumbledore knows better. There are students everywhere. That's how he's representing Hogwarts. They've got 2 different foreign schools. He's trying to. The whole reason they're having it is to amend
Magical
magical
community.
relations,
Yeah.
so they have, because they're not allies at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he screams at him.
I'm loving this so much. Having Emily worked
Get
up
worked up
something
about
like this, I love it.
She's so mad about the word calmly.
There are shirts that it just says calmly, and that's all it says.
Emily and I have been dear friends for about 10 years now, and I have never once seen her rant like that in my life, and it is the most glorious thing I've seen in the past decade.
It's just
This is
wrong.
what being a wild card podcaster
That's
will
what
do
it'll do
for
to you.
you.
I'm so
when
sorry.
you're within the triangle
Yeah.
of evil energy we create
Well, that
here
was
in
an
the
acting
studio.
choice. It was
Yeah.
an acting choice. It was the wrong choice.
I see. I don't know that it was his choice.
I
That
think,
was-
I
would
think it
always
was a
blame the
directing,
director. I would
yeah,
always blame the
directing
director.
choice.
Well, whatever choice it was.
Because
it was
even
wrong.
if he chose it, the director should have been like, no.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do it that way
Yeah.
because that's not Dumbledore. But Michael Gambon,
he
whatever.
screamed it. It's wrong.
Harry!
So, put your name in the cup of the fire.
So
Look at that enormous woman. I bet Hagrid's
Maxine.
dating
Madam
that
Maxine is another point.
enormous
Oh my
woman.
gosh, they messed her up. The whole point of her being there was she was also a half giant. She was supposed to be exactly the same height as Hagrid, and it was about like racism and like, oh, everybody
Right.
was looking
and she
down
was
on
too
her.
afraid to be honest about
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
no, I'm just big boned, and she's like a head taller than him in the movies. They're
Yeah. No.
Now,
I
one
know.
one other name I
gloss
saw
over
on
it.
your paper is Dobby.
they cut Dobby.
Oh, Dobby.
Dobby is a-
Dobby's
yeah.
in the books.
in-
Dobby's in the movies.
He is.
second
But
movie. He's in the
he's
fourth
a
book.
major character throughout the
He
books.
gives Harry
Like
the
a
gilly
major
weed. Neville
character.
gives it to him. I mean, I guess Neville would
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
but Dobby gives it to
I
him.
kind of actually did like that.
The
That they gave that to Neville, but no, it was
That's
Dobby.
an acceptable backup.
Because,
but they cut
yeah.
Dobby.
Yeah, because here's the thing: when Dobby, spoiler alert, dies in the last
Oh,
movie,
Oh.
second last movie. I don't remember in which movie it was.
I don't
when he
remember where
dies.
they made the cut.
I think it's actually the
Actually, I
second
think
last.
it's the
I think
end.
it's, I think it's part one.
I think that's how they ended it.
You care so much more in the books because he's been so present. Like in the fifth
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
he is
That's-
such a huge
like he's
character.
a
Butterfly.
loyal Harry Potter fan.
See.
And then, the other goblin that was the traitor goblin
creature
Creature. Oh, well,
they really
becomes-
downplay him in the
becomes
films
Harry's
too.
Yeah.
house elf.
Yeah.
He is Harry's house
Which
elf.
is-
Harry,
And the moment in the book when he gives him one of Reginald, not Reginald,
Regulus.
Regulus's
Regulus. I have his name written down.
Regulus,
Hard to spell.
something black, R-A-B,
Yeah.
Arcturus or something like that.
That
Whatever.
might be it, actually.
Whenever he gives
I don't know where
creature,
I
like
wrote
I think is it the locket,
Yes, it's the
and says
locket.
it's from your master, like creature flips and becomes
Yeah.
like Harry's best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He
so
gives-
that moment is so sweet in the book because you
And they
kind of
cut
hate
out
creature.
R.A.B. That was a
Oh,
huge
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like when the book came out, everyone was like, "Who's R.A.B.?" Because there was
Yeah.
a note. Who he is? Who is he?
It's
is he
me.
this character? Is it this
R.A.B.
character?
is me.
He's
Yeah.
not even in the movie.
It's hard to
I'm not
read
gonna say
that and
her
go,
name, 'cause
"Oh,
you-
that's my name."
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be in this book, and then you go on this weird trip in your head where you think, am I gonna start reading this book and weird shit gonna start to happen? And then I realize I'm in the book.
You got a Hogwarts letter.
Right, exactly. And the owl shows up the window, and they're like, "Come with me," and you're like, "Owls can't talk.
If you
This
want
is
to live."
weird." Right. And then I go on an adventure. Why can't it ever happen to me? No, go ahead with your report.
What about Dobby? They cut Winky out too. Winky was
Yeah.
Barty Crouch Senior's house elf, and he was abusive to her. It's a big point. They cut out Spew, which I'm mad they cut Spew out, which is the Society for the Protection of Elvish
Preservation.
Oh, yeah.
Preservation of Elvish Welfare, which is what Hermione started when she was 14. It is an activist group meant to liberate house elves, and they cut it.
It's really
house
smart
elf
to
movie.
have that in there
They
because
never mentioned that in the movies
No.
at all.
No, it's
you
gone.
can
a big part of the fourth
immediately
book.
set up one of the characters their sense of character by how they treated a house elf.
Yeah.
So you can
Immediately.
develop that really quickly.
Well, it also
And
is
then
a
you've developed
huge
the
part-
archetype that
It's a
you're
huge part of
going
the
for with
twist
that.
in the fourth book about
Yeah.
who Mad Eye Moody really is. Is this
Yeah,
house elf
yes.
and what she was doing certain places, and she
Yeah.
had a wand. Where did
Right.
that wand come from?
Yeah.
Why was she sitting alone in the box?
And like
Yeah,
once
they
she
downplay house elves a lot.
house elves, like this is part of Ron being racist, which Ron is
What?
racist.
I'm not a
Ron?
racist.
No, Ron Weasley.
Oh,
Kind of a
okay.
terrible character.
He was raised in all this pure blood, and
It's
he
not
doesn't.
his fault. It's the way it was raised.
He's not. Well, he
No.
does learn. He does get better.
His parents are kind of better than he is.
Yes, they
yeah.
are. They are. But I
His
mean,
older brothers maybe not the best.
they're fun though.
In
But
the movies.
Yeah, they're funny.
they're funnier in the books. Oh my gosh, they do so many more
Oh, they're
things.
great.
Yeah.
They when they left in Harry's 5th year, they left and said, "We're not taking our NEWTs. We're out of here because I'm just terrible."
Now, how good of a character is Percy? I
think
asked
he's
this because
interesting.
how much do you hate him?
Is he the dragon guy? That,
No,
wait,
Charlie.
he's the head.
Yeah.
He's the head.
He's
Head
the
boy,
head
isn't
boy,
he?
right?
Oh,
How
what
much
a
do you hate him?
Asshole.
That means it's a good character. Like
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
can evoke an emotion out of
Yeah.
you like that, you know it's
Yeah.
written well.
Yeah.
Bill is the one who works for Gringotts.
Dragons.
Oh, Bill is the dragon. I thought Charlie was dragon.
No, Charlie's Dragons.
Bill's
Bill's
the
Gringotts.
Green
Sorry,
Guy.
he
Yeah,
lives in
he's-
Egypt.
yeah.
He works in Egypt. Yes, but he.
You could do a report on the Weasley family.
You could.
They're,
There's so many
they're
of them.
fascinating.
Cool.
It's
They're not
fascinating.
even in the
family.
movies. All of them. They cut.
Which sucks because you cast Julie Walters, one of the finest British actresses to ever live, and each film you sort of diminish her
She is
a
great.
little bit.
Was she
but
Molly?
then-
Yes.
Yeah, she was Molly. But then in the Deathly Hallows, she comes back in a vengeance.
That's a great
Like,
moment.
she's-
That's a great moment
That's
in the
one
book.
of
Well, because in Julie Walters
quite as
is
good
a
as the Neville
badass
moment, but-
in real life. I don't know that she's like a ninjutsu fighter or anything, but
No, she is.
Julie Walters is a
She
bad
fights ninjutsu.
bitch
She
in
is.
real life. That was Billy Elliot's teacher in the original Billy Elliot film. So she's like a tough
Broad.
a tough broad, Julie Walters. So, first of all, her playing Molly Weasley is extraordinary. Second of all, when she comes in at the end with Wanda Blazin in the seventh
Fighting
one,
Bellatrix.
it's just like, oh, it's like waiting
my
for John
God,
Wayne
bitch.
through 7
Yep.
movies to punch somebody.
Right.
And then when he does, you go, oh,
Especially, here's
finally.
the thing.
finally, it's the best moment ever.
The whole series, we've been told to look down on the Weasley family because they're poor,
Right.
they're not great. All
They're
we've
blood
really,
traitors.
all the magic we've ever seen her do is household magic. She is the house mom.
She is mom.
You don't see her as the badass she
and
is.
Bellatrix Lestrange is an incredibly evil, strong,
Powerful.
powerful
Yeah.
witch. Kills Sirius. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
God, how tragic.
Molly, the house mom, takes her down in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants to take her down. She
pushes the kids back. And
Yeah.
steps
Said, "No,
into it. Yeah.
this is
I think
mine."
that to me was akin to Babe Ruth pointing at center field with his bat,
Calling a shot.
Because she's gonna whoop Helena Bonham Carter's ass. Now is that the one that played?
Yep,
Yeah.
Bellatrix.
She's gonna beat her ass. I love that.
Yeah.
Molly's such a great character, and through the books,
Yeah.
she's probably my favorite.
She's such a good
favorite
mother to Harry.
character.
She is.
Yeah,
She is.
Knitting him sweaters at Christmas, even
Yeah,
his
she
first
sends him
year.
a sweater every Christmas.
giving him
she
like
does for all of
6
her kids.
bacon sandwiches. When I read that, I was like, "What the fuck? I don't get bacon like that." Damn Weasley! But when I was reading the books, we were horribly poor.
Yeah.
So the Weasleys were the family because I was
Yeah.
working hard. I had no money, and so that was the family that I really attached
They're
myself
such
to.
good people.
Yeah,
Such
that was
good
it.
hearts.
That was it.
And they know their lack of means.
Yeah,
But those kids get so much love from their parents.
absolutely.
And there's always room for Harry. There's always room for Hermione. There's always room for anyone.
Right.
All their friends.
Everybody's welcome.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
nice.
they're very
Like,
generous.
They
They're
have, like-
sharing.
That's what I'm
The
saying. That's what
entire
is
order
so
of the
good about
Phoenix
this.
over Christmas.
Everyone is written so well. Even I
Yeah.
know we're gonna get to this, I'm sure. Snape.
Oh,
Yeah,
Snape
he's got a
is
whole page.
more
I figured.
well written than most.
He's got a
I
whole.
think.
No, he's got.
Now I wonder
he's
how
got a
much
whole
of
page.
how much of Snape was because of Alan Rickman. I
Alan
don't
Rickman
know.
is a beautiful
Yeah.
human being.
That's
Hey.
the thing in the book. He's a great character.
I
He's
mean,
well written, but
there
Alan
are-
Rickman.
More so than any other
You can't-
thing
you're
I've
not
ever
gonna
read,
top Alan Rickman,
I
no.
can't turn off some of the people from the movies.
Yeah.
When I read the book, I see, her name's not coming here. Minerva McGonagall,
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith. Like I
Smith.
see her.
She's-
There's a lot of people that like I will
I
never
love
unsee
McGonagall.
them in.
And I love Maggie
like
Smith.
Hagrid.
She's so good.
Jeremiah Schilling as Snape.
Yeah.
I see that in my
That's
head
fair.
whenever I read the books.
If he can get the
time.
voice,
All
if
right.
he can get the
Yeah.
voice, but I get what you mean.
Are we on Snape now?
Well, I don't know. We've got about 15 minutes, so I just,
It's your presentation. We can be on
Oh,
whatever
gosh.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I have.
you
We
do- you
we
do
can
whatever you want.
derail you however you wish.
Yeah, you
Just
talk about
choose
whatever you want
something
to talk
and we'll
about.
derail it.
We'll talk about.
Just,
what we'll talk
just,
about.
Right.
just keep the anger coming. It's
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
They took out the denoming. They.
That's a small thing.
I know, but I
Denoming.
like
What was
it.
the deno? Oh, where
In
they
the
whip
second
the gnomes
Weasley's
out.
house,
Yeah.
Oh
The way
yeah,
they
that was
they
fun.
They
Flick 'em.
grab them
Yeah.
by their hats and they spin them around
Yeah.
and throw
That's
them
right.
out of the garden. That's
And
how they get
get
gnomes out of
dizzy.
the
They
garden.
get dizzy and they
And
can't
they
find
run
their way
away.
back.
Yeah.
So they're also jousting with picnic tables. Out of
Yeah.
the
Right.
There's a lot of
There's
moments like that.
No, gnomes are great.
No, there's they took out like Spinner's Inn, which was where in the sixth book Snape goes and makes an unbreakable vow to take. Well, it was
Protect-
kind of there.
protect-
Oh,
Draco.
yeah.
It was kind
Draco.
of there, but in the movie, he's like, yes, we're gonna do this. This is what we're doing. And in the book, he was like, I don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
It was like he was clearly acting on orders. He was not one. And then Bellatrix was constantly calling him out on his loyalty, saying, I don't think you're a loyal follower, which he wasn't. But,
But God.
oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
but that's where
character
it
was
gets so
written
tense
so
is because you
well.
think Bellatrix is
Because
going to
he
out
makes-
Snape. She knows. And you get all tense. It's like espionage. It becomes like a spy novel.
It's just
Because you go, I don't know what side Snape's on. What's he doing? Why is he doing it?
Because he's not a good person.
No,
cannot
but
call that
he's
man a
established
But
as a
he
villain
is,
for all
you can
those
call him a
books.
hero.
Hey,
You
I
can
call him-
absolutely call him a hero.
Yeah,
You cannot call
Well,
him a good person.
No.
In the movies, he keeps saving Harry Potter, who he loves.
well, he,
Even-
well,
That's
he
the
does.
thing. You
Even
go,
in the
what
first
is
book, he
up
saves
with
his
this guy?
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saves his life. He makes heroic actions, but they're not because he cares about Harry.
No.
They're because he's Lily's son.
Because he's not a good person.
he's not a good person.
Because
He does
he's obsessive
He
with
makes
Harry's
a
mom.
few
So
of the right choices
he's-
for the very wrong
he's
reason.
he's a
He's a great
bad
Harry.
person, but he's doing the right thing.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah,
Right.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but
No.
he's doing the right thing, maybe for the wrong reason, but it's still the right thing.
Right. That's
It's
why I
sometimes,
would
though.
call him a hero, but not a good person.
But
Right.
he's
No.
supposed to teach him occlumency to protect his mind from Voldemort, which is
He
why
does.
Harry. Well,
He
no,
does
he
teach
does.
to him.
No, he doesn't.
He can shut it out.
Not-
By the
not-
end of the books, he can shut
He
him
can
out.
barely shut
but
him
he
out.
chooses to open back up because he realizes how vulnerable. So he
Okay,
does teach to him.
But how did he go about
terribly.
it? It's like if
Well,
you,
there's a
it's
debate.
It's like if you were trying to put something in somebody's head and you could gently place it, or you get a screwdriver and hammer it into their head. That's what Snape did. He was not gentle with his
No, he was
memory.
not gentle.
It
But I also
hurt
So
him.
jolly to
But I
hear
also
her
would
talk
say-
like that.
He had too much pain to be that gentle.
Yeah, well, I mean, again,
He was
I
the
said
wrong
Snape,
person.
not a good person.
Dumbledore
but,
should
but,
not have
but
fixed that.
Snape was the best Occlumens that we know about.
Except for Dumbledore.
But I also think Dumbledore being around Harry that much would have made Dumbledore vulnerable.
That's what he thought,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Which also, Snape was regularly going back and forth between Voldemort and
Mm-hmm.
and Hogwarts. He would have been Voldemort too. They're vulnerable too. They were both vulnerable.
But that just shows how strong an Occlumens he was to be able
he
to
was
keep.
very strong.
Oh, that's no
'Cause he was
kidding.
a
Because he
double
spent a lot
agent.
of time around
the-
the
yeah.
Death Eaters and Voldemort.
Yeah, he was a double agent.
Yeah.
I don't
Shut
know.
him
Yeah,
so
I don't
off.
think
Again,
anyone else could have been a double agent like
You
Snape.
won't,
is.
you
No.
won't hear me
That's
saying
why
he's
you
a
had
good
to-
person, but one,
Yeah.
he's an amazing character.
Oh yeah,
Probably
because
the
he makes
best
everyone
character in the
angry.
series.
He's amazing
But
character.
yeah, and then at the end, like when I read the book and got to that twist,
Yeah. Well, because for 6 books you think I'm going to be so happy when Snape dies.
Yeah.
And then when he does, you go.
well, Dumbledore's
oh, shit.
constantly
Oh.
respecting him.
Yeah.
Dumbledore, time after time, is respecting
But
him.
he didn't protect Sirius Black, who he had to have known was innocent because he knew about the.
He hated Sirius Black
Well,
because he's not a good person.
Well, okay.
No, that said, they as kids, the 4 friends as kids, were pretty terrible as
They
well.
were-
Oh,
yeah,
they
they
were
were-
bad.
they
They
were
were so
mischievous
mean
and
to
bad,
Snape.
but that
You can't
doesn't
blame him
mean-
for turning out to be a dick. But he was
Well,
Slytherin.
you can blame him.
You
can.
can blame him because there's no reason if you were.
But
bullied
here's
to
what I
turn
won't
around and
accept.
Bully your students. For
I will
7
not
years.
accept you telling me that Snape is bad and then defending Lucius. Or sorry, defending Draco.
I've heard
Because a
people do
lot
that.
of people try to
Well,
defend Draco and there's nothing.
he was
Is it
also-
always
There's
with
not a
he's
single
just a
redeemable thing about him.
kid?
It's
Is
just
that what they
because-
say?
that's
He's
a lot
just a
of it.
kid?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing
No.
redeemable. And until
No,
the very
the
end when he
kid's
comes
a
back with
prick.
his kids,
Yeah.
he seems to have grown up a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing he does in the books that is good.
But here's what Dumbledore did. He let Sirius Black go to Azkaban without a trial, knowing that Peter Pettigrew was the secret keeper. He knew. He knew.
But how could he prove it?
Well, he protected Severus Snape, who had a dark mark on his arm for the entirety of the series, but he can't protect Sirius Black. He didn't even try.
That's a good point.
He has literally a tattoo that says, "I'm a Death Eater," but he can't protect Sirius Black, who always fought with the light and was a member of his Order of the Phoenix.
I wonder if it was just because of how much popular opinion was against Sirius, because there were so many witnesses who saw it. So I don't know I don't know what he could have done to. I don't know.
I see
I
it
see
as
what
Sirius
you're saying.
Black needed to be in Azkaban for a plot point for Harry Potter, and so that's
There you go.
That's how it had to
That's
be.
how it
right?
works. Right,
Dumbledore,
Plot reasons.
Dumbledore did not
Right.
make any attempt to save him. He left him there.
No, it would have been a bad plot point.
And he didn't tell Snape to stop bullying his students. You can be grumpy,
Right.
but
Yeah.
you should not have a student who's 13 and has the issues that Neville has, and he turns out that his Bogart is his teacher.
Yeah.
That is his worst fear, down to his core. He can't imagine anything worse. He knows he goes through with everything with his parents. He lives in this constant state of terror of Sirius Black and Voldemort's going to come back and all this, but Snape is his deepest fear.
The only thing, that's the only thing. I'm not defending Snape here because he's not a good person,
Yeah.
but he does have Draco around him at all times with a direct line to Lucius.
Right.
So he does have to appear to be a terrible person. Does he have to do everything he did? No. 'Cause
No.
One of my least favorite moments is when Hermione gets her teeth cursed.
That's when it's on my list somewhere.
When Hermione gets her teeth cursed and
Her
they
teeth
grow.
get cursed.
I
Yeah.
They
don't
get
remember
giant
this.
buck
Yeah,
teeth.
she and a
Did that happen in the movies?
She
No.
gets, they get because there's
Okay,
there's
well
in
then
the
it didn't
first
happen.
3 or 4 books. She has big teeth. Like
Yeah, bigger.
it's like it mentions that she has prominent front teeth.
Yeah.
And then at one point in time she gets cursed and they become like rabbit, like a joke. And then they get filed down smaller than they were to where they're like normal. I think it's
yeah.
the 4th one. I think probably when Victor Crumb is there was my guess. To
Actually,
make
I
her
think
look-
it's.
And wasn't
I
her
think it's
dad a
earlier.
dentist?
It might be earlier.
Her
Her dad
dad's
was
a
a
dentist,
dentist.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
she
what
has good
Snape
So
teeth.
there you go. I got no
but-
teeth
but
worries. My
Snape,
dad's a
Snape
dentist.
insulted her in such a way. Like, again,
He said
it makes sense it fits with who he's trying to show himself to be.
she came back with them fixed, she came back with
a giant teeth, and he said he didn't notice a
I see
difference.
no difference. I think she was actually. I think it was the second book.
She ran out crying after
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Was
How
that-
damaging to a young girl's psyche. That is wrong.
Hermione
Well, I
runs
think
out crying often.
But that's also where we just stop and say
Really?
she gets picked on a lot in the
she
books.
is
Wow.
clearly the hero of these books.
Every damn one of them. Where would they? It'd
She's
be
clearly
two
the hero of the
idiots.
movie.
Harry Potter would have died in
Two
the
They switched
idiots
her
running around
personality
the
in the
woods.
movies. They
Harry
gave-
Potter would have died in the first book without Hermione.
Yeah. Undoubtedly.
Because of the devil's snare.
Undoubtedly. And the potions, the
logic
riddle,
potion, yeah.
which they left out of the movie. Every teacher had
Now that would not have been very compelling.
I
video.
wanted it.
That would not
Right.
have been.
It was a
Drink a potion. Well,
It was a
you
riddle
have
to
to like
decide.
recount a logic puzzle.
Yeah.
To
So,
figure out.
honestly,
and that was
they-
Snape's.
They make it all about teamwork.
But Hermione does
But
all
in
the things.
actuality,
It's all
everything
Hermione.
before Hermione does a magic trick, it should always start with, "Look at this, dipshits! It's this
to
easy."
Harry's credit, in the 5th book when he starts the Dumbledore's army,
Yeah.
he's very honest about the fact that he hasn't really done anything great.
Right.
That it's just the people living around him. He's gotten lucky a lot. So he does credit Hermione as being like the greatest witch they know.
Well, I love it when he finds out that there was nothing special about him.
Yeah.
That stopped
Other than his
Voldemort.
mom,
It was
yeah.
his mother giving the the spell
The love
on him, the
sacrifice.
love spell thing.
It was her
And
sacrifice.
so Harry he's an average kid.
Yeah.
He is.
There's a
He's a
circumstance.
very good seeker.
That's it.
That is his only
That's it.
like.
He's an athlete.
That's
He's
like
a
being a
child.
good
He
Harry
can talk to
Potter's a child.
snakes. He can talk to
That's
snakes.
because of
Yeah, but
Voldemort.
that's because
That's because
Voldemort marked him as a
Yeah.
kid.
He
Once
was
he
not
lost
born
the
to be able to
Horcrux-
talk to snakes.
Yeah, once he lost that Horcrux, he couldn't talk to snakes anymore.
Yeah.
That was the Voldemort in him.
So it's like
He
there's
can't talk to snakes. Voldemort can.
yeah. I love that Harry is he's an average kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's average not only in like he's not perfectly good all the time.
No.
He's
Not.
got a temper.
Yeah.
And again, that's just
And
it's
he gets
so
jealous.
honest. He's so honest.
Yeah.
That's why these books are so compelling because no one is perfect. It's not just
Right.
the Mary Sue of everybody's great and
Yeah.
my hero is perfect in every way. None of these people are perfect.
No.
They did switch Hermione and Ron's personalities, some of them in the movies.
Mm.
Like in the movies, Hermione panics and says, "Oh, I don't know," or no, it's in the books, and she's like, we need fire. I don't have any fire for the devil's snare." And he says, "Are
You're
you
a
a witch
witch,
or
yeah.
not?" That in the movie, Ron panics and she calms down and then she just saves him.
Yeah.
They just switch
Yeah.
like some
No,
of
I
these-
like that manic aspect of her personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Ron's good qualities go to Hermione in the books, and Ron just looks like a jerk. And
Which,
he
yeah.
is, but not-
Routinely, especially later in the books, he gets
Yeah.
more and more jerkly until the second half of the last book.
All right, there's one more thing I want to hit because we're
course,
running
we
out of
got-
time.
We got
We got
plenty of
time.
time. We got
Okay.
lots of time.
Okay. Well, there's fan fiction.
Okay.
Have
Okay.
any of you ever read any Harry Potter fan
Oh
fiction?
God,
No.
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 I've
No.
read about I've read some Pottermore articles, but even that's been a while. Where
Yeah.
that's actually like
That's
Rowling,
actually J.K. Rowling.
Rowling writing some stuff like about is it Ilvermorny?
Yes.
That's the North American
Yes.
school.
Yeah.
There was some like information about the North American school and what the four
Houses.
houses were there and their mythical creatures and all those
Yeah.
things.
Which
I
is
read
cool.
that. That was a pretty neat little article. But no, I've never read any fan fiction.
There's some really good fan fictions out there. I've read one that I think had like 40 chapters, and they were all
Wow.
decent sized
Wow, holy
chapters.
shit.
They were
I mean,
like,
it doesn't surprise me.
Well,
Honestly, it doesn't surprise me because
No,
of
it's a
how
great
much
universe.
how much people are invested in this.
and then there's Harry Potter and the School of Prayers and Miracles,
Oh my.
Oh no.
which I don't.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there, Emily. What the fuck are you talking about?
There's another one called My Immortal. That one I think is a
Oh,
parody.
that's a great Evanescence song.
Yeah, it's got a lot of Evanescence in it. It's really bad. I think that was a
Aw,
parody, but this
I
one
like
I think is
Evanescence.
actually a real. It's
I do
this like soccer mom who wanted her kids to be able to read Harry Potter, but didn't want them to turn
Have
out to
magic
be
or something?
evil, like turn out to be
Holy
Satanists.
shit.
So she rewrote it.
I remember
She
when that
rewrote
was-
the books.
Oh my
because I remember
fucking
when
God.
I was young, that
Bad.
was a big issue.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Parents
it
not letting their
absolutely
kids
Oh my
read
is.
these
God.
books because it promotes witchcraft.
My best friend wasn't allowed to read the books when we were
See, I
little.
have a friend who, when I was in high school, whose mom, we used to joke she was a witch because of all the Wiccan things she had around her house.
Right.
And I was a kid. I didn't know any better at that point in time. I used to, when I'm still immature in many ways, but I've grown up so much when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid,
Sure.
I used to use the word gay to mean bad. Like I
Right.
just,
Yeah.
that was my vocabulary.
It was what you did in the
It wasn't
in the
until
90s.
someone called me out in college. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
right, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But like when I was young, I didn't think about things like that. So we used to call her witch because we thought it was funny, not like to her face or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I remember this being a big issue.
Oh my. Michelle's stepfather, may he burn in hell, was he was like that. He was like, I'm not going to let my kids read this. They read them anyway, but
Yeah. So
I'm not going to let them
yeah.
read them because it leads to devil worship.
It
Really?
amazes me. It amazes me.
Really?
How the people that are most afraid of like witchcraft are the ones with the most hate in their heart.
Absolutely.
It's not the people who are like practicing, even if it's not a religion that I would subscribe to. There's so much like positivity in some of those.
Well, that's the
alternate
thing. They're like,
religions
look
and
at those
philosophies.
people peacefully meeting in the woods. How dare
How
they?
dare
Lo-
they?
loving each
Yeah,
other.
how dare
I
hate
know.
them.
I know.
It's a good thing I'm a good
just because
Christian.
they like trees.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
my
it.
Christian hate I've
Oh
got
my
here.
I knew a
God.
girl who we weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter at her house. She wasn't allowed to watch it. But her mom suggested we have a Lord of the Rings marathon and watch all 3 movies in the same day.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing witchcrafty
Yes,
in Lord of
there
the Rings. The word witch is only was it the Witch of Angmar maybe? There's like the word doesn't show up. Because I'm not arguing with you. I'm pointing out the stupidity of the argument. Where if you don't use the word witch, it's not bad.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but I didn't understand. Well, I do understand, but you've got the Harry Potter universe, which is about wizarding and witchcraft,
Yep.
and then you have Star Wars, which nobody
Space wizards.
ever. Well, the thing is, the Force is a religion.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
called
it
a
is.
religion at one point, and there are 2 sides of this religion. They could have really gone after that. Were they
everyone liked
smart enough to go after? Yeah, but they liked it. There you go. There's the thing.
By the time Harry Potter came out, they were adults and they got to judge anything their kids liked.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, Star Wars is off limits, right? Because it's still about the same kind of thing.
It's
I thought
about
it was
using.
about government economics, if I recall.
Well, you're close.
It's about the.
Those are the prequels. Fuck those movies.
Hey, they're not that bad.
But yeah, okay, Jared. Well,
I don't hate him as much
agree
as
to
everybody
disagree.
else does.
It's about using it's the specific term, I believe. I'm guessing that it's specifically the term witches,
School of
which
Witchcraft.
is
That's
why
exactly
Harry
what it
Potter
was.
they get freaked out because
Yeah.
Because
Never-
you're going to
freak out
school to
over
learn how to
Percy
be witches,
Jackson.
and witches are evil, and
in the Bible it says
witches
never suffer a witch to live.
Right.
And if you show me someone who's actually a witch, I would agree with you. But I've never heard any compelling evidence that ever witches existed. So.
Yeah.
No.
Now there is in the New Testament of the Bible, there's someone named Simon the Sorcerer.
Ooh.
Oh.
In Acts, there's a sorcerer who can do magic.
Yeah, but Paul wrote Acts, right? Well, he was a fucking lunatic.
Actually, Luke wrote.
Paul
Acts,
was
but
Luke wrote Acts.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Paul is introducing.
He drank too much, but
Paul
he
is
was
no, he
okay.
did not.
Luke drank.
You don't know anything about.
He's
him.
the one that talked
He's
Jesus
a
into
doctor.
making wine. He
He's
was
a
like,
doctor.
Jesus.
No, that was his mom.
Mary?
Yeah,
she was a
that's Mary.
drunk too, but she only did it because Peter was
All right,
like, "Hey,
tell us about
let's
this.
Get,
Let's
let's get
either
lit."
fan fiction or something else you want to talk
Jesus.
about.
It's very bad. It's got Hagrid as a door. He goes door to door. Hagrid's the one.
Wait,
that
give
picks
me
Harry
one
up.
second.
Go.
I have this thing in my head where it's like,
It's called a tumor.
this is really good wine. What year is it? 00. It's 00 wine.
I gave you a
So
good
it's
setup
00
from-
wine?
I gave you a set
You
from
did,
Quote.
and I was.
Do you know Kindergarten Cop well enough?
No, I don't. I've never seen Kindergarten Cop.
man,
I just heard it quoted so many times in the 90s.
I've
and I
got
was
something
like,
in my
I'm not
head.
watching
I
this.
said it's a tumor. You're supposed to say it's
not
not a tumor.
I refuse that one. I will absolutely gloss over that one because I hate It's Not a Tumor, only because it's overplayed.
And you haven't seen the movie,
No,
so it has no connection.
I don't
to you.
need to now. I've seen the one good line
No,
that's in that
that's
movie.
not the best line in the movie.
I did want to see the movie because Pamela Reed is in it, and she's one of those actresses
The
that I
best
love
line in
that
the movie
nobody else knows who
is
it
when
is.
this little girl or this little boy says to Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina," and Arnold Schwarzenegger just looks terrified.
I heard about that. Trip.
anyway, Emily, you were saying
It's one of the bad. Okay, it's not as badly written as far as typos and grammar. Some of them are really bad. They use text speak, but it's also very bad. They've got Hagrid, who's the one in the books, who does come and get Harry in this fan fiction. He comes and he's going door to door, literally saying, "Have you heard about the good news?"
Oh no!
yes.
Oh no!
And it only gets worse from there.
I don't want to
Oh
know.
no!
that.
Oh my
yeah.
God!
You're a Christian now, Harry, Hagrid cried proudly.
Oh,
And pray the sinner's prayer.
Have you read this book?
Yeah, the fan fiction, yes, I've read it.
Oh,
It's very bad.
that is
How
terrifying.
did you get past the first page?
Oh, it's really bad.
I
It's
don't-
got
I don't
McGonagall and
understand
Dumbledore
either.
are married. McGonagall and Dumbledore are married, and they're the preacher and the preacher's wife.
I'm just going to interrupt you because as fascinating as this is,
I'm not going
here's
to
what I
hold
need
it.
you to get into because I know that this is something you and I are gonna struggle with.
Okay.
Talk to me about Slytherin.
and it's on.
Slytherin is not the place where you go if you're evil. You think it is.
And the only reason I do think that is because that's how Rowling wrote it.
I
It's
think
ambitious people.
I think it doesn't have to be. How's that?
I would agree with you
It doesn't
entirely with
have
that.
to be.
I would agree with
That's
you.
what
but
it
I feel
is.
like I see so many people defending Slytherin because of what they want Slytherin to be and not how she wrote it.
I think that's what it is when Harry's there, and I think it grows out of that. Once
How
Harry's
many
gone.
people would you say are in Slytherin that we see any redeeming qualities about?
that we see or that are there? Because we
That
don't
we see.
We don't see very many Slytherins. We see
Regulus
Draco.
is the only one who's coming to mind for
He's
me.
really good.
Who like, and I'm sure he did terrible things because he was he was a Death Eater.
Well, he wasn't. He was gonna be a Death
Oh, he
Eater.
didn't
He
even
was
make
being
it.
pushed
Okay,
into it.
he
He
didn't
never
make it.
got
I
the
thought
mark.
he made it.
He
I was trying
never got
because
the
he was the
mark.
only one I thought of that like really turned himself around.
Yeah.
And now Harry himself argues in favor of Snape. In the
does.
very end,
He
he
names
says
the
the
son
bravest
after him.
man he never knew.
He's not. but okay.
Harry's convinced of it because that's how Rowling wrote him.
Yes.
But I'm just and I hear your argument. I see them things online. People are arguing for Slytherin. I'm like, I understand why you want to think that ambition of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just seems like the way Slytherin is written.
I think
It's elitist.
In that time period,
And that's the big thing.
everyone assumes Slytherin is evil.
Well, you
so
look at
they're
who the
evil.
founder of Slytherin was.
Right.
He was less.
It's the anti-Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I guess. But
The anti-Hufflepuff.
he
And they're not
he
as good
actually
at
had a very
herbology
good reason
as
for
Hufflepuffs.
wanting blood purity at the time, because that's when the witch burnings were happening and people were hunting.
We gotta
and
defend ourselves
he said,
against-
We can't let ourselves be killed. Our children need to have a safe place. We can't let outsiders in. And is that right? Maybe not. But he didn't.
Did you watch Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yes.
You said I think that was
Yes,
captured
I did.
there kind of nice.
I saw the
Yeah.
movie. It was very
Pretty
good.
good.
That's very good.
I wish Dan Fogler had.
Which one was that?
He's the sidekick.
Oh, he's in
the
the
Muggle
he's
sidekick.
in the second one too.
I know, but I almost wish he had some kind of connection to the magic world.
For him to be coming back, I feel like there's going to be something there.
Well, there has
Other
to be
than
because
just
they
like,
erased his
hey,
memory at the
I
end
miss
of the
my old
first
buddy. Let's
Yeah.
go see what he's up to.
Yeah, I'm curious how they're
I'm
going to bring him.
excited.
I love him as an actor and as that character.
Because
So good.
I would say you look at the books and you see very few redeeming qualities, and I don't mean this in an evil way, about Hufflepuff. Other than they're good people
Yeah.
and Cedric Diggory.
That's all
But,
right.
but they're never condemned. They're just like, oh, and I guess everybody else.
Well, Ernie Macmillan was in Hufflepuff, and he was really mean to Harry in his second year when everyone was being
so
really
was-
mean
was
to
it
him.
Justin Finch Fletchley?
Yeah, Justin Finch Fletchley. I can't say his name.
Yeah, but they were kids.
They were
you know.
And I
12.
think is it Hannah Abbott was in there, who Rowling said eventually married Neville, if I recall.
Good on Neville.
I thought
Good job.
Neville was with Luna.
No,
That's
Luna
movie.
married.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's like, I'm gonna go say something
It's
to Luna.
convenient.
That's nothing from
Yeah.
the books.
No, it's in a lot of
Wow.
fan
It makes
fiction,
sense.
But she married
I don't recall.
Newt Scamander's great grandson.
Oh, okay. No, you
Well, in
said
the
it.
movies, he's also just kissing on Cho Chang like out of the blue. Like
And
that
she's
seems
in the
abrupt to me.
third
There
book.
was no
She's in the third
real
book.
Yeah.
progression
They're
to that.
Quidditch
It's like all of a
rivals.
sudden
They
they're prom
play against
dates.
each other.
Yeah.
But it's built up in
Who's
the book.
kissing on?
Harry.
Harry.
Oh,
Harry
yeah.
is
His
such a
crush
good
on her
friend.
in the
She's in
second
the
one.
third
Yeah.
book. She's like a Quidditch rival. They play
Yeah.
against each
Yeah,
other. They
yeah,
know
she's a
each-
character.
And then in the
Yeah.
fourth one, like, he likes her, but now she's with Cedric.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Cedric dies in the fourth
So
one.
we'll
And the
take
fifth
care
one-
of that,
and
won't
then
we?
In the fifth one, it's like, every time he's with her, she's crying because of Cedric, and
Right.
she's asking questions, and he's like, what's
She's
wrong
getting
with
like
you?
no support.
Harry
from
Potter's
him.
like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
How are you so emotional?
Stop crying. Get your dress on.
And let's kiss and... No, she...
I'll take you
Harry-
out to
kiss
town.
Because again, he's not such a good person.
And
but-
they
Right.
took out Marietta Edgecombe, and I'm really mad about that one.
Well, who is Edgecombe?
Marietta Edgecombe
she
was
was
Cho
the
Chang's
traitor.
friend. Yeah, Hermione. This is a really cool bit of magic that
Yeah.
shows how powerful a witch Hermione
She
was.
poxed
Yeah,
the
she-
coins.
The coins. Okay, the coins are
Oh,
like
yeah.
they each had a coin that
This is
looked
the
like a
fifth book,
galleon.
Dumbledore's army, the group that was going to
Uh-huh.
fight.
So-
All the kids were recruited to
Yeah,
it.
so she bewitched them all with like she didn't really invent a new spell, but it wasn't usually used like this.
New type magic, yeah.
So her coin was like the master coin, and they could change the date on the coin, and that was
When
when
they
their
were
next
gonna meet,
meeting was
yeah.
going to be.
Oh,
So for
cool.
secrecy, so she bewitched those coins for that, and then they have a sign-up sheet for who's in Dumbledore's army. She bewitched that paper, and if anyone ever like
Snitches
ratted
get
them
stitches.
out, pimples appeared all over the front of her face, and it spelled out "sneak," and no one could take them off. It was still there at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And later, like it just stayed there. She's got her face all wrapped
Now,
up.
I
at
think in
end
the
of book.
movie, wasn't someone like Imperious to reveal it? Or I forget.
Maybe they also took out the Inquisitor.
Or maybe the twist, maybe been the
Umbridge's
potion, like
Inquisitor's
or maybe been
wand.
like a truth-telling potion or something they used.
Veritaserum.
Yeah,
maybe
Veritaserum.
they took out like all like Draco Malfoy and his flunkies being
Yeah.
flunkies for Umbridge and going around. There was like
Man,
a
they just
squad-
disappeared after a while
Neville
from the
getting,
movies,
Neville
didn't
getting
they?
caught,
They were gone.
sneaking around.
Oh yeah, and they
Yeah,
took
they-
out
well, they
Goyle
had
from the
no
seventh movie.
They had to.
I know.
They
Do you
didn't.
know
They were
why?
sidekicks.
Yeah, they were
That
He
was
was
doing
it.
arrested,
anything.
wasn't he?
Yeah. Hang on, I have that one written down. They took out Goyle from the seventh movie. He's supposed to be in the
In
final
the very
scene.
end, there's a moment where Harry's on a broom in the,
Oh, no, Crab. They took out
the room
Crab.
of hiding, and he's
Room
trying
of
to get the
requirement.
tiara.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
diadem.
was that
Yeah.
a Horcrux?
The
He
diadem,
was.
Yeah.
And
Diadem, I can't
and
say that.
so they're going through, and then all of a sudden Draco and his two buddies show up, Crab and Goyle. Except
Yeah.
in the movie, there was
Blaise
just some
Sabini.
third dude. Oh, it was
Blaise
Blaise.
Sabini.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah. In the he
Who
was
was pretty
replaced
important in the books, but
because
not in the movie.
his name is Jamie Waylett. He got arrested for growing pot in 2009, pled guilty to possession of cannabis and possession of a knife.
In
He also-
England?
And he took part in the London
It's
2011 riots.
barely illegal over there, though,
and was
isn't it?
seen in Holiday with he was holding a petrol bomb.
Well, that'll do it.
Now
That'll
we've
do it.
got
So it wasn't so much the
Oh,
cannabis,
yeah,
it was the
yeah.
petrol bomb.
Drake
that he
stole
had.
champagne and was charged in 2 years in prison for violent disorder.
Well, he was typecast then for the movie.
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Yeah,
So
he was
so
a
they
real bad
replaced
guy
him-
in real life.
So they replaced him with Blaise Sabini. I have fun facts,
Blaise Sabini is a pretty good character.
but I don't know if they're all fun.
I have a lot of facts, but they're not fun.
I like you to
They're
fun
just
facts.
facts.
I'm the only one who does fun facts. I'm all about it. Go,
You are.
hit us with it.
Well, that's because our whole report is a fun fact.
Yeah. I save the fun till the end.
That's we don't have to
I'm
break
not
it down.
familiar
They're
with
all
fun.
fun.
That's right.
J.K. Rowling based Hagrid on a Hell's Angel that she met.
I buy that.
Really-
I totally
He
buy
was
that.
like really big and,
like that.
scary looking, but he just talked about his garden and his. And he was like really a teddy bear.
Yeah, Hagrid was a great character that also took a screw in the movies.
I love Hagrid
because he just disappears, and even in the book, his role is diminished a great deal.
He
There's some
goes to
great
visit the
stuff.
Giants in the sixth movie or sixth book, and that's disappeared. He goes as an ambassador.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Grop. They
Story.
took out Grop.
Yeah.
His half brother. Okay.
Oh
his
yeah.
dad
Oh, that was a
Muggle.
weird. I didn't like reading that though. That was weird.
Dad was a Muggle. His mom was a giant, and then Hagrid was somehow born. And then his
Wow.
mom
Don't try to work out the logistics
Stayed with
in
the-
your mind.
stayed.
Can't
His mom
do it.
stayed with the Giants, and then had another son who was Grop, who was a full giant, but he was his half brother. And they took him out. He
And
was
I
like,
love how sad Hagrid gets when they choose not to pursue care of magical creatures.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't take his class because they don't need it for their what
And
they're
because
studying.
Right.
it's not
And
their favorite, they're
yeah.
not, none of them are
Nobody
good
really
at it.
cares about
they-
the magical
They just like
creatures.
him. They try to
Yeah.
defend him, but then they don't go take his class, and he gets really sad about
He
it.
does.
However, do you get a little excited when they go into the Forbidden Forest in the books? Like you
Yeah.
always know when they go out there, something's
Something's
gonna happen.
Like the unicorn.
Some kind of crazy. You're gonna meet a crazy thing like the
See, I-
They
big
took out
spider.
Perez.
Well, it is forbidden.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm
It
an
is
animal guy.
forbidden. Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm an
That's
animal
why
guy,
you
so I
love when they go out there. You're like,
I
oh,
love care of
adventure.
magical creatures.
Yeah.
I would major in care of magical creatures because I
That'd
think
be
that's
so cool.
fascinating.
Yeah,
The
that's awesome.
Thestrals and the
The hippogriffs.
It was the
I love
blast,
the
blasted
hippogriffs.
scroots.
Yes.
The
The Nifflers.
griffins.
The Nifflers are
Yeah.
so cute. They find gold. They're puppies that find
Nifflers.
gold. They
It's
took
like
out Perez.
hunting truffles kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
You know how in the movies, Umbridge kind of forces Trelawney out, the divination teacher, and she's
Yeah.
like, "No, Hogwarts is my home."
Oh.
In the books,
Maggie Smith stands up for her.
yeah, in
That's
the
a
books,
The Mantis woman.
they bring in a centaur who lives in the Forbidden Forest, who's kind of called a traitor by the rest of his herd because
Yeah.
he comes and associates with humans, and he teaches half the classes, and Trelawney teaches half the classes.
Oh, cool.
He has this whole
Yeah,
big
it's really
room
neat.
that's enchanted to look like you're outside, sitting under the trees, and you can look up at the
stars.
stars.
And he's
It's
so honest
cool.
about divination. Like most of you won't get anything out of this class.
And that's fine. He's so honest. He's so
Yeah.
brutal. It'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be good. But they took it out.
Now in the movie, there's the woman who the crystal ball lady.
That's Trelawney. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
divination
Trelawney.
woman.
That
The
we're
Mantis
talking
She is
about.
woman.
actually a seer. Her great grandmother was Cassandra,
Emma Thompson.
who is
Emma Thompson.
I didn't
Oh,
write
yeah.
this one down,
Yeah.
but Cassandra is a Greek figure of like prophecy and seer.
Right.
Well, and what's great about is Dumbledore's like, we just need to give her a place to stay. She actually did have a prophecy once. Like she
Yeah,
she had
once.
the prophecy about Harry
And
Potter.
Snape overheard it and told
or about
Voldemort, and that's why he killed
Voldemort.
Lily.
Or about Voldemort. I said about Harry Potter, but it's about Voldemort.
Yeah.
And so he keeps her around to protect her, and she gets to teach this class that is worthless.
Yeah. Nobody learns anything. But
They do make some good jokes though
they
about
do.
it. All right, Emily, we want to, as we wrap this up, is there anything you want to close with about why Harry Potter is so valuable and so great?
It's just the thing that I grew up with, and it's
Yeah.
one of the most defining pieces of literature in my life because it's the thing that I always went back to. I would wait for one book to come out and find more books to read. It's a gateway book.
I think it's arguably the most important piece of fiction in modern
I would agree.
It's
generations.
so good.
And I think
Yeah.
I think
Like fictional, you know.
I think Emily's exactly right about how many teen series have come out since then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and there were obviously some that existed before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you compare this with Twilight. How
No.
like I don't. I'm not. I don't.
I'm sorry.
I don't,
I'm
I don't,
sorry.
yeah,
I'm
not
sorry. No,
quality.
you're saying
It
it's not.
I've
can't
never
at
read any
all.
Twilight.
It's not
But in
good.
terms of like books that get people to read, this one
Right.
just kept kids. Like
Yeah.
I remember. I didn't do this because I didn't read it when I was young, but the lines at like bookstores
Oh, yeah.
at midnight, waiting for these bookstores
Yeah.
because kids wanted to
They
read.
wanted to read.
And it had that scholastic stamp on it, which always made me jolly
Yeah.
and nostalgic and all that. And then you read the book, and it's not like a regular scholastic book.
Yeah, she starts really. The first two are kids' books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some.
I'd say young teen,
There's some
preteen.
scary moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really young. I mean, if you read them, it's a little tough to read the first two for me.
Yeah.
Because they're so young. But and then after that, she stops talking down to kids.
No, by
Yeah.
the third
She
one,
really-
where
if
she
Mr.
introduces
Rogers
Lupin
style, like,
and
yeah.
Sirius
Oh,
Black,
Lupin.
and it becomes the
Lupin's
adventure.
my
Lupin's
dude.
one of my
Lupin's
favorites.
my dude.
Jake's favorite character.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
didn't talk
good.
about Lupin.
Lupin,
much.
we
wanted
can
to
talk
love
about
Lupin.
werewolves enough, I think. But,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Professor
He's
Lupin
so
is my
good.
favorite.
He's another example
David
of
Thewlis
racism.
played him. Excellent actor.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
David
so
Thewlis
good.
is amazing.
Yeah, Lupin and Neville are my dudes from that series.
I dig them.
Yeah.
Well, there are certain books or series of books that kind of change the world and the way people start writing other books after
Right.
it. Like Lord of the Rings did that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it did.
And Harry Potter did that.
Yeah.
You know,
No doubt.
It changed a generation.
because it's not just it brings people in to read it. You can tell by Emily and and Jared, the way that it creates this whole debate, this whole universe that people can discuss and be a part of. And most books don't do that. Most books are just stories that you read and then you leave.
It makes me wish I hadn't been so elitist as a kid, because Emily grew up with this, and Emily's not that much younger. She's a few years younger than I am, and I could have grown up with it. Yeah. But I didn't. But I'm still this passionate about it because it's so well done.
I think for my generation, you can really liken it to Star Wars and the universe that was created, and we found ourselves embroiled in this universe religiously almost.
Exactly. Only Star Wars, it was written as a book after the movie was made, but it was based on the movie, as opposed to Harry Potter, which is this whole book series that then became movies.
That then became theme parks. And,
If you're in any fandom, like on Tumblr or on the internet somewhere, if you're any other book series, you'll be like, oh, well, what Harry Potter house do you think this character would be in? Yeah. Everybody always sorts their characters into this Harry Potter house.
And one thing I feel like I've seen about this, and this topic could be a couple minutes away, maybe this makes it a little longer unless you guys are upset about it, is I feel like there are fewer gatekeepers in the Harry Potter universe. Does that word mean anything to you guys?
Yeah.
So gatekeeper would be someone like, oh, you really like Pink Floyd? We'll name 7 of their songs.
Oh,
it still happens,
like
but not as much.
jerks who are like that about a lot of fandoms. Like, oh, you really a fan? Well, tell me about this person. I feel like Harry Potter, they're like, oh, you like it? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
oh, you
funny
didn't know this? Well, let
because
me tell you more.
On the way over here, I was reading Game Informer magazine where somebody had written a letter last month.
Game Informer.
There's always a Game Informer in my bathroom. And they were talking about how they were responding to a letter before where a person had worn a Zelda t-shirt, and one of these people were like, well, how many Zelda games have you played? What do you really know about the old Zelda? You just played the new Breath of Fire, and so are you really a fan?
Breath of the Wild.
And so, Breath of the Wild, sorry.
Jared's clearly a fan.
Right.
I've never played it, but I just...
and then I want to play Breath of the Wild.
I didn't want it to diminish... I didn't want to diminish your point.
But there was a letter in the one I read today that was like, don't listen to them. It was written by a guy who had played the old ones, but none of the new ones.
Yeah.
And he was making the statement, despite my not knowing anything about the new ones, that doesn't make me less of a fan either.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. If you liked one game...
You like that game.
You like that game.
Yeah.
Or if you like one movie, if you like one song from Pink Floyd, you can be a fan.
I just don't understand why people think you knowing every fact about everything... Like, if someone doesn't know as much as you do, how that lessens the thing you like.
Because they have to make themselves feel better than other people.
Exactly, but why can't you just be like, oh, you like it, let's talk about it.
Right.
Because it's so great.
Well, because people are assholes.
Oh, yeah, don't be a dick. That's
right, don't be a
right.
dick.
Yeah.
That's our motto.
Right.
Speaking of mottos.
Emily,
Speaking of being a dick.
Emily, thank you so much for sharing
This was
today.
so pleasant.
This was a
Thank you
great
for having
episode.
It really was.
Yeah, I think most of it was just you and me being like, oh, let's talk about this thing. Woo!
Let me talk about Harry Potter.
We were like jumping all around.
I'll tell you, this is one of those great moments, though, because it's been a while since we've had an episode where Jeff just kind of sits back and goes, I got nothing. But I will say, you had the movies. You actually did know the movies pretty darn well.
Yeah,
for being
you were
someone
able to.
who doesn't know the books.
I like.
It impressed me how well you know the movies for not knowing
I
the
like
books.
talking
with
to
you.
someone who had only seen the movies.
Yeah.
To say this is what you're missing.
Yeah, we can share
from the books.
We
It's
can
very
share it.
interesting.
You haven't seen this? Well, then let's share this with you.
But Jeff's perspective is correct in that if you've only watched the movies,
you
can
don't know
still be a
anything's
fan.
missing. It's a big. I mean,
There's
it's
so much
exciting.
more of it.
They're thrilling. They're great movies.
Yep.
So you don't know you're missing anything. It's just good movies.
Yeah, and it's even like we've talked about The Stand before in Stephen King.
Yeah.
The Stand, I've got the unabridged edition.
Right.
It is 1,000+ pages.
Yep.
Right.
And I would read more. And
Yeah.
that's how I about Harry Potter is I would read more.
I would always
now
read more.
I've got Cursed Child. I haven't read it yet.
A lot of people don't like it. That's where gatekeeping is starting to come in. Cursed
Yeah.
Child isn't canon. You can't count. I don't like it.
She wrote it, so
She
J.K.
and another
Rowling
person-
wrote it?
Yeah.
She and another person
Then,
wrote it.
that's still
And
the
he was
universe if
American.
she wrote it.
Well,
It's- but it's also-
canon if she...
we're also,
That's it. She
We're also
makes
in the
the
kind of
canon.
place where people want Harry Potter in high school.
Right.
Any other point in time in
Yeah.
the universe is not what they're used
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I don't
So it's going to be hard to get.
But Fantastic Beasts is so good. Why not just visit the universe? I like
Yeah.
the
A
lot of
universe,
people
Potter
like that.
or not.
But I would even love, because there's been so much she's released online after this.
Yeah.
So many things like, here's what happened to these
Yeah,
people down
in
the line.
Pottermore.
Yeah, and Neville becomes the professor of herbology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He is.
And I would
remember reading
love
that.
to
That's
hear
great.
about him as a professor.
Yeah.
Because
so
think of
good.
how good of a professor he would be.
And all of his childhood experiences,
Yeah.
he would make sure none of that happened to them.
Right.
He'd be so caring.
And do you think he'd be head of Gryffindor or head of Hufflepuff? I mean, like
He was a
is a
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor,
He
so I don't
was a
think he could be head of
Gryffindor.
Hufflepuff.
I think he could be head of Gryffindor.
That'd be pretty awesome.
It'd be pretty cool.
That'd be amazing.
I would love to hear about that era of
Yeah.
him being there and kids that are coming through, and maybe from the professors instead of from the kids' point
Yeah.
of view.
Oh, that would be neat.
I just it'd be
You could even make it
Well,
about
the
Harry's
epilogue,
kids.
the
Yeah.
epilogue of the Harry Potter books is fascinating
Yeah.
Yeah.
to me, with all them meeting at the train station and nodding
And
at
again,
one another.
Draco
and,
being
"Hi,
there, and
Draco,
he's
how
fine
are
now.
you?"
We're good
Yeah,
now.
yeah, it's
Good.
really cool seeing them older, more aged.
If you guys have any thoughts on Harry Potter, anything we left out you'd love to hear about, I guarantee you this: you post, Emily will comment.
I guarantee.
I
She
will.
she is our gatekeeper,
Yeah.
protecting us from you all. So, no,
Remember, Emily is here because of her
fan-
comments
yeah.
on our
Right,
So-
podcast.
because she's our super fan.
so if you want to be on the episode with us, you show us that you love what we do, and
That's
we'll
right.
be willing to talk to you guys as well. So thank you for joining us. I would just like to say until next time.
Stay wild.
Stay wild.
And bite the edge.